A narrow road winds through the middle of Andalusia in the southern Spain. We are 80 kilometers from Seville. The most remarkable thing here is the land. Olive groves follow one another, endless spaces. This is the road we took to Marinaleda. 2,700 inhabitants. Narrow, clean streets. They are quiet. Very quiet. Avenida da Liberdade, the public reception area, the school, nothing special at first glance, except that if we stop and listen, we can hear the quiet music of Marinaleda's great history. There are no policemen or thieves here. There is less unemployment here than anywhere else. And there is enough work for everyone. The rent here is 15 euros a month. The deputy mayors are not paid here, because the residents wanted it that way. You don't believe me? The story of Marinaleda begins in 1976, at the end of the Franco dictatorship. There were no roads, no water, no electricity, no schools. Here, poor families of farm workers survived on meager wages. The land belonged to the Duke of Infantado, one of the richest men in Spain, who owned thousands of hectares of land and exploited thousands of day laborers. But one day the slaves said, "Enough. Enough of starving when there is so much uncultivated land around." They got together and created a union of farm workers. They occupy the Duke's lands, but are driven out by the police. Then they occupy them again in order to win the right to live like human beings. They say, the land belongs to those who work it. Individual actions will achieve nothing. Alone, we will achieve nothing. If they want to fight us, we will resist. If they want to take us by the throat, we will resist. And we will fight to the end, until we achieve our goal. This is Juan Manuel Sanchez Gordillo, history teacher, trade unionist, and mayor of Marinaleda. He was elected mayor of Marinaleda in 1979 at the age of 27. He was the youngest mayor in Spain. He is leading the struggle of the people. What we will try to do to realize the old dream of land. For 12 years, they have been tirelessly seizing banks, putting pressure on the central government. They have been pestering the Andalusian government. And one day, and why not, they took over the runway at Seville airport. They also went on hunger strikes in protest. Up to 700 residents of the town took part in it. They were fined and imprisoned. But one day they got their way. In 1991, the state expropriated 1,250 hectares that belonged to the Duke, to give it to the residents of Marinaleda. The land becomes their common property. They saw the ownerless lands they seized. Now it all belongs to them. I came here the day they gave us this land. Then everyone came here. Everyone who took part in our struggle. The whole town was here. I had the key, and I was the one who opened the doors of the farm. For us, this day was a holiday. I must say that this was never happened before in the history of Andalusia. That people got land as a result of a struggle.
Que se consiguiera tierra mediante lucha.
When we started walking, when we occupied the land, we planted olives.
Cuando ocupamos la finca y toda la historia que hicimos, cuando conseguimos la tierra, sembramos olivos.
We decided to build a mill here. We assembled a frame and little by little built a mill.
A poco empezamos a hacer el molino.
We wanted to get land to work on it, not to be owners. No, we did not need property for the sake of property. We needed the land to work. We are day laborers. We only needed a salary. We worked every day for a salary, to eat, to live with dignity. I knew nothing about mills. I had nothing to do with them. Because of this, I had to work a lot, until today. We study here every day. The olives are always different. I needed to learn how to work on a computer, because I'm almost illiterate. I did not go to school. It is an honor for me to be involved in the production process in Marinaleda. I'm very proud of it. It's very important to me. We have managed to realize our dream. I do not know of any other such examples in Europe or anywhere else in the world. A town of 3,000 inhabitants who won for themselves in the course of the struggle 1,252 hectares of land. Change in everyday life is already a lot, but the rebels of Marinaleda wanted much more. They wanted to change the world. They continued the fight for land, for agrarian reform. In this Andalusia, robbed by large landowners, who own most of the arable land. On their 1,250 hectares, the workers also grow artichokes, beans, peppers. They built a canning plant, so that the vegetables would not go to waste and could be sold. The plant is self-governed, and, like the reclaimed land, is owned by the workers. The residents of Marinaleda dared the unthinkable. Against the backdrop of the widespread onslaught of neoliberalism, they decided to socialize the means of production. Here, they are not afraid of big words. This is how the revolution took place on Utopia Street. The sign on the facade, vegetable preserves. Here is a recently built canning factory. It is organized on a cooperative basis. All issues are resolved at a meeting of the staff. Everyone has the same salary, 47 euros a day. All the incomes is invested in the purchase of new equipment and the launch of new capacities. When there is not enough work for everyone, it is distributed equally. We started with growing peppers, which gives work to 80 women for either a month, or 40 days, or 25 days, depending on the harvest. Then there are artichokes, which provide work from December to May approximately. We hold meetings, gather those who do not have work, all those who want to work in the fields or in the factory. If we need 40 people and 80 people come, we form two groups, each of which will work 6 days. The idea is to distribute the available work equally. We are spinning. Here, everyone works. Before the global crisis, I always had a job for 12 years, in winter and summer.
En mi casa no faltar trabajo, ni en el invierno ni en el verano.
Does your salary cover your living expenses? It used to be enough, but now, during the crisis, it has become more difficult. But yes, we are trying to overcome it. It is not like in the neighboring village, where, as my half-sister says, people look for food in the garbage bins. It is not like that here, thanks to the system we have created. Here, you will not earn enough for a car or a house, but you are always well-fed, and you educate your children, while Andalusia as a whole has a high unemployment rate. Marinaleda boasts full employment. After the financial crisis of 2008, it has become more difficult to provide everyone with work. I can put some of you on reserve. This meeting was organized by the town hall this afternoon for those who want to find employment. We need people for road work. Eduardo, the deputy mayor, will draw lots among 20 candidates who will have work for a week. The rest will have to wait. The residents of Marinaleda will somehow distribute the available work among themselves, so that each family gets at least some work. Opposite the room where the draw is taking place is the office of the mayor, Juan Manuel Sanchez Gardillo. Remember him? After he was elected in 1979, he was re-elected 8 times. We have an appointment with Esperanza, his assistant and cultural advisor. We are anti-capitalists, and we are trying to fight capitalism with the means available to us. We are going against the tide. Sometimes you realize that you got more than you expected. 30 years ago, the streets of Marinaleda were not paved. We had no first aid station. The streets were not lit at night. We did not have many important infrastructure solutions necessary for normal life. One of our greatest achievements is that in our town, the poorest have equal rights with others and participate in the life of society to the same extent as the wealthier. And the richest residents of Marinaleda are also working people, and that says it all. With utopia as their guiding star, the residents of Marinaleda seized the land and, with it, the right to work. They conquered hunger, poverty and fear of tomorrow. Then they began to build houses, roads, public buildings, parks and sports grounds, and their own factory, which gives them work. In 30 years, their standard of living has increased significantly. Today, Marinaleda has a community center, schools, a kindergarten, a gymnasium, a swimming pool with a subscription costing €1 per month. As for water supply and utilities, it is €5 per month. The internet is free. However, Marinaleda receives less state subsidies than other settlements in Andalusia. How is all this financed? Of course, a lot is financed from the state budget. We have the lowest taxes in the region, in the province of Andalusia, and, I think, in all of Spain. We cannot ask for money to be able to build what we need, and not a single state administration remembers that a village called Marinaleda needs to build sports grounds, repair streets, improve infrastructure. So what should we do? First, we try to settle everything through bureaucratic means, and if this is not taken into account, then unity and struggle will do the rest. We get on buses and go to seize the relevant institution. In this way, we achieve great things. I believe that the most important thing is unity, constancy and struggle, and Marinaleda has succeeded in this. To change the world, you need to have a roof over your head. That is why the Marinaleda rebels have also achieved the right to housing. There are no homeless people here, no real estate speculation, no mortgages. Every family has a home. The rent is €15. I have lived here since 1985. This is the first phase of housing built by the city hall. How much do you pay here per month? 15 euros per month. Most live with their parents. Our municipality is left-wing and acts in the interests of the workers. It does not line its own pockets. It wanted to build housing that workers could afford, according to the principle of self-construction. This is the core on which the Marinaleda project rests. When we arrived in the commune, there was an acute shortage of housing here.
Había muchas necesidades de vivienda.
Behind me, you can see 25 houses built by our efforts. They are being built by the future residents themselves. The city hall allocated the land. The Andalusian government allocated the building materials. The future residents pay for the work. In this way, the self-builders create about 50% of the value of the house, so they will have to pay about 25,000 euros for the house. At a rent of 15 euros, it will probably take them more than 20 years to pay off this amount. If it were not for our system, they would have to pay off the debt for 85 to 90 years. This is a way to make it possible for those who need it to have housing.
Es una manera de forzar la realidad, es una manera de conseguir vivienda quien la necesita.
We are creating a social democracy based on democracy in the economy. We socialized the land, then we gave it away for free to those who wanted to build a house. People were given building materials, they became masons for a while. In this way, they had their own housing, land to those who work on it, factories to the workers, houses to those who build them. "350 houses were built according to this scheme in a small town with 2,700 residents. Is it bad? If we compare Marinaleda with that it was 25 or 30 years ago, we can say this: even an armed revolution would not have given us everything that Marinaleda was able to get. It is also true that the crisis is hitting us hard today, but if you ask me, we feel great. We are happy with everything, because over the past 20 years, Marinaleda has been the best. Young people who needed work could work in the cooperative. If they needed housing, they went to the city hall and received housing. I think that the best awaits Marinaleda ahead, because we will need new houses and we will work in the fields. We need to move forward, be optimistic, and everything will be fine for us for a long time. I believe in it. At 1930, the big union meeting.
Hoy a las 7:30, Asamblea General en el sindicato.
Today at 1930, the big union meeting.
Hoy a las 7:30, Asamblea General en el sindicato.
Good, the mayor will be there too. At 63, the one who was the youngest mayor in Spain is still a charismatic figure and continues to fight for economic and social democracy, direct democracy. Here he is, attending the general meeting of residents in the Union Hall. This is the hall where all the important decisions are made. Juan Manuel Sanchez Gordillo is also a member of the regional parliament for the left-wing alliance. The question is the assembly must vote on is whether Juan Manuel should remain a member of the Andalusian parliament or continue to be mayor. The question must be decided this evening. This is an important moment for the community of our town. What would you like me to do? I resign as a member of parliament and remain mayor. That's the first option. Or the second option. I remain a member of parliament, but I am no longer mayor, and I lose some powers. After this introduction, I would like to hear what you think, what your opinion is, to see what we should do, which option would be more interesting, one or the other. Let whoever wants to speak raise their hand and express their opinion.
Para ver qué haríamos, qué es más interesante, si una cosa o si la otra. Y quien quiera hablar, levanta el brazo y opina.
At the next election, this will mean voting for the United Left. I want to vote for you.
Ahí yo creo que es súper importante que Juan Manuel
I think it is important that he remains a member of parliament. This is a very timely debate. Why do we have unemployed people in the middle of the harvest, after 30 years, after all this fighting? That is the question. You are already tiring me with your politics. That is my opinion. Do what is best for you. My opinion, you know it, and I will remind you of it in front of everyone. I think you are more useful here in Marinaleda than somewhere out there, in Parliament. Your voice is not heard in Parliament. Here, your voice expresses the interests of many. That is why I ask you to stay here as mayor. I would like to hear other opinions. The main decision-making body in Marinaleda is the General Assembly. Everything is decided in the Assembly. Everything that is most important. Raising or lowering taxes, the municipal budget, what vegetables will we grow in the cooperative. There we discuss local issues, national, international. We discuss everything. Everyone who participates in the meeting has the right to speak and vote. As in every meeting here, today we have before us the residents who make the decision. This evening, they decided that Sanchez Gordillo will remain the mayor of Marinaleda. In Marinaleda, the people have power. The motto of the first election campaign in 1979 was "The mayor is the people themselves." And I think that 34 years later, the people are still the mayor.
No me dio tiempo ni a salir de la puerta, ahí en la ventana.
Y vomitó y se quitó 90 ya. Pues sería. Yo tengo. Está trabajando y hace.
¿Cuatro? Exacto, el puesto lo que tiene que poner. ¿Vale?
If I had to assess the residents of Marinaleda, I would say that they are a close-knit community. This project would not have been able to develop so successfully if it were not for the struggle and solidarity of the residents of this town over the past 30 years. One of Marinaleda's greatest successes is that its dream has come true. It has come true thanks to protests. The project was not only developed, but also implemented in practice. When the demonstrations for land expropriation began, people were guided not only by the thought, we will seize the land, create jobs, a cooperative, but also by the desire to change the whole world, to make politics completely different. We are a small village of 2,700 inhabitants, which had problems with unemployment, which lacked houses and infrastructure solutions. We made the dream come true, conquered everything we have, each of us, in each neighborhood, in cities, in villages, regardless of needs and circumstances, must improve the world around us, unite with others like him. There is no need, coming to Marinaleda, to think that everything here is a fairy tale. We have problems, shortcomings, like everywhere in the world, but it is true that by organizing in your neighborhood or city, you can achieve a lot. Alone, we will not achieve anything, but a team can do everything.
Nada, pero con la organización todo. hora que la una, rueda de la fortuna, dime, ¿y hasta cuándo las ataduras? Lo que diga la gente, si seguimos dando trayectorias diferentes, lo que no escucha no siente, y esto es lo que vi, y esto es lo que vi. Lo que diga la gente, si seguimos dando trayectorias diferentes, lo que no escucha no siente.